So this question says we have a diagram. So in the diagram above, not drawn to scale, AB is the line joining A, which is negative 1, 9, and B, which is 3, 1. So they want us to calculate the gradient of AB. So let's go. So to calculate the gradient of AB, the gradient is represented by a common M. We know it's a change in y over the change in x, which is simply y2 minus y1 all divided by x2 minus x1. So we have the 2 points, so we can call this x and this is y. We can call this x and this is y. So we can call this x1, y1 and x2, y2. So we just put in those values now. So y2 would be 1 subtract y1, which is 9, all divided by x2, which is 3, subtract x1, which is a negative 1. So this will then give us the gradient to then be equal to 1 minus 9 would be a negative 8 all over 3 minus negative 1. This here will cancel and turn up plus. So 3 plus 1 would be 4. So the gradient would be equal to negative 8 divided by 4 would be a negative 2. So the gradient here is a negative 2. The gradient for the line AB is negative 2. The next one says, determine the equation of the line AB. So now we want to determine the equation of the line AB. So we found the gradient of AB to be a negative 2. So in order for us to find the equation of the line, we know the equation is y equal mx plus c. And the important things that we want would be the gradient and the y-intercept, the part of the line that crosses the y-axis. So if you look at this line, we can see that this line crosses the y-axis at this point. And it looks like 0, 7. But to be sure, we can work it out, but it looks like 0, 7. But just to be safe, let's not take it for granted. Let's work it out and see if we can get C if it will be equal to 7. So we know the gradient is negative 2, and we also have 2 points on the line. We can use these 2 points. This is x, this is y. So we can substitute those and then find for C. So y would be equal to 1. So this is 1 is equal to the gradient, which is negative 2, multiplied by x, which is 3, plus C. So this would be equal to negative 2 times 3 would be a negative 6 plus C. So hence C would be equal to 1 plus 6, since C is equal to 7. So we already knew that just now though. We know the y-intercept would have been 7 from looking at the line. So nevertheless, the equation of the straight line would be y is equal to m, which is negative 2x, plus c, which is plus 7. So this would be the equation of the line. And that is part 2. So next part, they'll ask us, write the coordinates for G, the point of the intersection of AB and the y-axis. So G would be the y-intercept. So we know the coordinates for G. The coordinates for G, which is the y-intercept, would be 0 across, 7 up. And that is easy as that. Next one, write the equation of the line through O, the origin that is perpendicular to AB. So they want a line that goes through O and it's perpendicular to the line that we just found. So we know the gradient of the line that we just found is y equal negative 2x plus 7. So y equal negative 2x plus 7. They want us to get the equation of the line that is perpendicular to this. So we know the relationship when we're dealing with perpendicular lines is that the gradient would be the negative reciprocal of the line. So we know the line is perpendicular to AB. So we know the gradient of the line AB is negative 2. So the gradient of the line perpendicular to this would be the negative reciprocal of this. So what we basically do, we basically flip this here and flip the sign and change the sign. So the gradient of the line that we're interested in, the gradient of the line perpendicular would be 1 over, and we change this into a positive 2, since it was negative. So the gradient of the line that we want is 1 over 2. So we have the gradient, and now we just need to find the y-intercept. Actually, we had the y-intercept to be 0 because it passes through 0 here on the y-axis, because they said that it passed through the origin. So we can say the equation of this line would be y is equal to m, which is 1 over 2x, plus 0, which is the y-intercept, but we don't need to add in this plus 0, so we can just say the gradient of the line is y equal half x, because it passes through the origin, which would be that point on the y-axis. And that is the equation of that line. So next one, write the equation of the line through O that is parallel to AB. So the equation of the line AB is y equal negative 2x plus 7. So let me write it back. Y equal negative 2x plus 7. So they want the equation that is parallel to AB. And for parallel lines, they have the same gradient. So if the gradient of this line AB is negative 2, the gradient of the line that we want would be the same negative 2 because they are parallel. Parallel means they have the same gradient. So, and it passes through O again. So if it passes through O, it will look something like this because it's parallel. So the gradient of this line is negative 2. So the equation would be y is equal to, we know the general form is y equal mx plus c. So the equation would be y is equal to negative 2x plus c. Now c, once again, it passes through 0 on the y-axis. This is plus 0. Or we can just leave it as y equal negative 2x. And with that, this has brought me to the end of this video in which I looked at some geometry questions. So I want you to use these concepts and keep practicing questions like these. And I'll see you in the next video in which I'll be tackling some more questions. So take care and keep practicing.